talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pitchers. Let's talk about the Cats, how rest can turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 74 of Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. These two yahoos who are going to be joining me today is, of course, my man Trev.
What up,
and
though?
We have Stoner here as well. Make sure our display names for those watching us on YouTube. Of course, we stream live every Wednesday at 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We also put this out on audio platforms wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us. If you're on Apple, make sure you leave a review for us.
Please.
That will help other people find us, and we would much appreciate your assistance there. But you can also find us on Google, Amazon. Go ahead and ask your Alexa to play Ref the District, and she will do that. Keep it coming. Of course, we appreciate all those who are coming in the chat today. We've got a long show for you today. Hopefully, maybe not necessarily long, but it is going to be a heavy topic day.
Heavy topic.
So we will be talking about the testimony today, Dan missing it. I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail.
Lack thereof.
New phone, who dis?
Yeah.
We are also going to be talking about McLaurin's contract progress, to include a super smoky hot take by one of us here on that.
Stunner, man. I tell you what.
Not this time.
We'll talk about defensive depth concerns here in the warm-up as well. And we'll talk Wiz and NBA draft preview for tomorrow, which we will be live streaming here on our Facebook. So make sure that you check us out if you're a fan of the Washington Wizards or you just like good content, because we're definitely going to be providing it. More on that because we won't be alone. We'll have several guests joining us for that.
I got a cat issue going on over here. I've got I've got on my computer, on the side of my computer. This is the obituary of my best friend who passed away from cancer like 8 years ago.
Okay.
Right? That I got hanging, and the cat is using it like a scratching post. Well, I can't have this nonsense going on in my house right now.
You got to get your animals under control, Stoner.
My man, you need to scan that in. It is 2022.
It's the original. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
So, but you can
you should hang it somewhere else.
Preserve that somewhere, but scan it so you don't lose it, my man.
Because what if the effing cat, like you just said, decides to use it as a scratch post
when you're not around,
and then you're gonna come on.
This is the great content people are tuning in.
Well, then there will be a cat in the classified ad.
Shout out tailgate Ted one time. What did he just say? There's your guys.
You need to laminate that obit, Stoner. Thanks, tailgate. Backing us up here. My man Stoner's sticking around with the old school newspaper clipping. As much if that's that important, you got to make sure you have it kept. So this is
and Stoner, check it out.
Yes, sir.
My mother even chimed in and said, "Laminate, Stoner."
Mama Stores.
Let's
Shout
go.
out Mama Stores. Tailgate Ted. P-Dub is in the house. We got EP and Love Lifts.
I'm probably
Dan Snyder skating again.
For sure.
We
What'd
are.
you say?
I said I'm probably older than your mother, so she probably understands lamination better than I do.
I think
my laminate back in my day, you know how we laminated?
That.
We would take Scotch tape and we would just, like cover the whole thing with Scotch tape, and that was lamination back in my day.
All right, so the warm up, Nathan. You were
sorry.
We're gonna move on to
actual
topics
before we give out any more world history lessons.
Back in my day, while we're on the topic of actual sports, make sure you head out to District Divided. So we did talk it up with them, and they posted the episode. We talked about Carson Wentz, whether or not he's a top 16 QB, Commanders' expectations this year, and the Wizards pick at 10 and whether or not they should trade Bradley Beal. So some good topics out there.
Mhm.
Good couple of dudes. We enjoyed collabing with them, and we're going to be doing more of that in the future. So we're pretty happy with our conversation with them. So check that out. That's on District Divided, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that here right now. And namely, I'm going to start us off with that Carson Wentz talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a top 16? Is he in the top half of the QBs in this league? Because a lot of these lists are coming out and some of them are just straight disrespectful.
Yeah.
They have our QB, the first QB we've had to be able to throw the ball, further than, 30 yards down the field with some consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And there some are listing him 23. I've seen him as low as 30. Like, what's going on there that he is that low, and where would you put him?
I think he's that low in some people's list because they're just taking the last 2 games of last season, and then he's 30. 23, that sounds okay to me. 16 to 23, I think. 16 to 20, ideally, was where I would put Carson Wentz. Because we all know he goes back to the MVP caliber year until he got hurt. And then he got benched for Jalen Hurts, went to Indianapolis, recruited by a head coach from college. Still was 9-8 they finished. He had 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and then the last 2 duds in the last 2 games of the season. So the potential, we've seen it. We've seen him be like the MVP caliber, but we also seen him be probably like a bottom 25 to 32 quarterback. But I don't think you should judge on the past 2 games or the benching in Philly. I think overall he's between 16 and 20 is where I'd put him.
He's definitely not as bad as he was in his last year in Philly before they got rid of him, before they traded him. That was
pretty bad.
Which I think he was 16 touchdowns and 15 picks, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's not as good as he was the year before that when he was an MVP candidate. He's somewhere right in between.
Mm-hmm.
And rank him wherever you want. If you want to rank him 5th, if you want to rank him 25th, I don't care, as long as he is at least competent, at least an average,
and he's shown that
slightly above average, and I think he will be. But that's all I ask. I don't get too caught up in rankings.
Right.
I like to debate it, but in the end, I don't care if people think he's the worst quarterback in the league. The proof will be in the pudding. Right?
And
the old man saying, this is kind of our theme tonight is old man talking about.
And Tailgate's head with the not sure which tangent is worse, Stoner's Scotch tape bit or the congressman that started talking about football PSIs during today's oversight hearing. Shout out Tailgate again with that one.
I agree, Stoner. And we're having this conversation based on his play with not that many weapons, if you think about it. He had some weapons in Philly, but everybody wasn't the stud. Indianapolis, he had Jonathan Taylor, good offensive line, Michael Pittman here and there, yes. And he still put up 27-7. This year, he has good receivers from 1, 2, 3, even 4 if you want. Running backs 1 and 2, 3 if you want. Tight ends, Logan Thomas is healthy. Cole Turner's promising so far, 2 at least. And then a defensive line that'll help out the secondary that struggled. He's got all the pieces around him this year that could elevate his potential that he's shown already. So, like I said, the conversation we're having about him is top 16 is what he's had with those weapons.
I would take a little bit of umbrage, and I know this is a common narrative, but I take a little bit of umbrage with this whole thing umbrage? About how he didn't have. I have a problem.
Okay.
I have a problem with back in my day, we used to say umbrage.
Right.
But this narrative that he didn't have great weapons in Indy. Okay. And we want to talk about how great the weapons are here. When you just stack numbers against numbers, Michael Pittman and Terry McLaurin were pretty close. Okay, they had basically a better tight end. Mo Alley Cox is better than Ricky Seals Jones
for sure.
Okay? Jonathan Taylor is better than all three
For
Washington
sure.
quarterbacks combined.
You mean running backs?
The running backs. What did I say? Quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Running backs. Their number 2 receiver, T.Y. Hilton, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton is on the same level as anybody that this team has.
He used to be a really good wide receiver.
Right. He's better than Curtis was last year.
Yeah.
He was better than Diami was last year. And we don't know what Dotson is going to do. So T.Y. Hilton's better than them. Their backup running back, Naeem Hines.
Third down. Yeah, he was nice.
Hines. He's better than J.D. McKissick is. So we talk about how our weapons are so much better, and they're not necessarily better.
He kind of is.
JD hate?
No,
it's not JD hate. It's just that we're
realistic.
We know who our guys are 1 through 4 at every position. We don't know who Indy's guys are 1 through 4. We just know Pittman, Mo Alley Cox, T.Y. Hilton, and Jonathan Taylor. That's all we know. But I promise you, when you look at the stats, they are better than Washington's stats. So he didn't necessarily.
But how much of that is that QB play, though, right? Like, so you're comparing now because and this is something we're very open about is Carson Wentz is a better QB than Taylor Heineke.
For sure.
So Terry McLaurin and company are all producing those level stats with worse QB play. Doesn't better QB play improve most of those positions, if not all?
Yes. But it's all hypothetical, though. It's all hypothetical. It's all hypothetical to say that McLaurin would do better if he had better quarterbacks. Probably.
I think so.
But it hasn't been proven. So it's all hypothetical. Right. You just
on
don't
paper
know.
And from the past tape, Carson's tape and our offensive tape, put those kind of together, you think it should work out great because we have a competent quarterback who knows how to run an offense, take command of an offense, no pun intended, rather than sticking in a guy who's we hope he's going to take us there. So, I mean, 16 to 20 is where I rank him. Nathan, where do you rank him?
Yeah, that's thanks for asking because I'm actually going to push this also to our comment section here. So make sure you're in the comments. We're talking about whether or not where Carson Wentz ranks and QBs this upcoming season. Some people have him as low as 30, 20 is very popular. That 20-23 range is very popular. I think Chris Sims, we're going to do a whole video on Chris Sims rankings. I think he had him at 19 is what I think I said, Stoner, before the show. I have to say this dude's top 16. I'm not sure where the drop off is coming. I don't know if it's a Commanders aspect or is it the fact that he's on his third team in 3 years?
Sure. All
that recency bias, right? That Trev that you mentioned. If you look at the last 2 games he had as a Colt, not exactly thrilling, So are they downgrading him because of that? Because I mean, if you took him week 10, week 12 of last season,
different conversation.
You're way different conversation. He's obviously a top 16 QB there. But those last 2 games after he got COVID, where is he now? A lot of people are saying that he doesn't have the confidence. You have the previous owner just straight up just dogging him whenever he gets in front of a microphone. So I just don't understand really where it's from. This guy threw 3,500 yards. He threw 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. I think he only had one fumble.
Lost fumble.
He was, one of the higher QBR ratings. I mean, if you look at some of the other statistical, stats, he's not nearly as high. He is in that kind of 16 to 20 range that Trev you're putting him at. But if you're doing Stoner sniff test, he's easily in that, I would say probably 12 to 18 range. He's go. Which I think is good for this team.
I think it's fair.
If this defense lives up to it, we talked about this last season. If the defense plays top 10, you don't need to have a top 10
top 15.
You just need a competent. That's all we were looking with for Fitzpatrick. We didn't need Fitz magic. We literally just need a guy who could toss the ball and he was going and score some points. And that was what he was going to do. And I think that's what Carson Wentz is going to do here
for sure.
So I just think that people are getting a little too caught up in ranking him anywhere lower than 18.
Speaking of rank, the guy who was a 30, I think it was Adam Rank of NFL Network was the one who had that.
Had him 30th.
Yeah.
And had the Commanders at 3 and 14.
Yes, it was Adam Rank.
Oh, and Nate.
Adam Rank. Yes.
Yeah.
What a troll job. I mean, look, we're a couple of guys who had never heard of Adam Rank until he did that. So well done. Kudos. You got our attention.
We have heard of Daron Payne, and I want to share the latest on him because this was a fun interaction on Twitter.
I did.
So
I saw
let's move the branding here.
Who crowned you king?
Yeah. Robert Griffin III says on Twitter, the Commanders' D-line showing up is more important than which Carson Wentz shows up. 4 first-round picks on the defensive front has to equal dominance. Stop fighting on the sidelines and start fighting in the trenches. Stop the run, own the line of scrimmage, and create havoc. To which Daron Payne took a little umbrage to.
Good.
Word of the day. And as Trev had said, who crowned you king from Daron Payne? He continues in his comment spree here after.
I didn't see the what is that?
Yeah. Raycon Davis
he's
put some laughing emotions. He's Daron Payne said, boy, a turf eater talking like an analyst.
Here we go. You know the Joker meme? And here we go.
Yeah.
This is it. I didn't see that comment. Daron Payne's
Trev, the first line of that is absurd. To say that the D line is more important than which Carson Wentz you get. That's I won't
say it's absurd. I'll say he's like off on that, but it is. I think it's equal, just because of what he said. No, because look, the first Chase Young, Montez Sweat, our first year, we won our NFC East championship. Chase Young had, we were a top 5 defense, and why? Because our defensive line. So then the whole theme of last year offseason was our defensive line's going to be better. We're going to eat, and they laid a goose egg multiple times. So, and then along to go with that goose egg, we had Taylor Heineke, Garrett Gilbert, Gavin, Stoner, me, like all of us playing quarterback to pair with the poor production of defensive line. So the only way I'll give that to RG3 is not absurd, but way off is it's not more important than Carson Wentz because quarterback play is the most important position of a football team.
That's all I'm saying.
But it is important, probably like 1A, 1B because of our defensive line. That was the heartbeat when we didn't have a quarterback. That's who we were recognized by. Chase Young was a face. Our defensive line was this forefront, So that's why he's saying that. But it's definitely not more important than Carson Wentz, but it's 1A, 1B. Second of all, you don't need to call out and subtweet Daron Payne and John Allen about fighting on the side. If you want to, at them, put their name in there and call them out and say, hey, John Allen, Daron Payne, no more fighting on the sideline. But you subtweeted that. And Daron Payne's right. RG3 was a lightning bolt for us, but he also spent a lot of time on the turf.
But that's a little bit. I thought that was a little bit disrespectful because if Daron Payne had played with RG3, then I think that's okay to kind of call him out like that. But
RG3 didn't play on the sideline. Didn't play this year on the side. When the sideline altercation happened, RG3 didn't play on the team, and he has a nerve to call that out. We don't know why.
I was going to say, I think Daron Payne has every right to clap back. Okay,
we don't know why he put the finger in the face. We don't know that. We just saw it.
And as we've seen, Daron Payne has no problem getting back up in somebody's face if you get in his face, right?
And he has no problem replying to false reports about him.
Yeah.
I just RG3, hot take here. RG3 has accomplished so much more than Daron Payne has.
What has he accomplished?
Because he won Rookie of the Year?
Because he won Rookie of the Year, because he led a team to the playoffs. He played 10
Daron
years.
Payne's been on a playoff team.
Bingo. And he has an
last time I checked, this was a team
7-9 team.
Okay.
Did we win the NFC championship?
They lost the first round of the playoffs.
Did we or did we not, Stoner?
Okay, look. But still, he played 8 years. He played on different teams. He's started probably as many games as Deron Payne has. So he's accomplished more than Deron Payne
Yeah, look that up because
has
I think
ever
he's started one full
accomplished.
season for us, and that was
Deron
it.
Payne has like as many. He has like 5 more sacks than I do. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. He hasn't accomplished a whole lot on the field.
But come
other than
on,
being a
bro.
first-round pick.
But you got a guy
respect
who
your elders.
no, you got a guy who was ready to put the team in the grave with this book all about Washington.
Okay, I'm
and
talking.
then
on
it gets
the field,
canceled. No, hold on, it gets canceled. Then you got the nerve to talk about a sideline scuffle that you had no part of just because you were quarterback for us for a couple of years. You have every right to say, stop fighting on the sideline and stop the run. You get your scrawny butt out there and stop the run. You say it to his face, Twitter fingers. I don't have a problem with that. So Deron Payne,
I'm not an RG3 guy, especially his presence on social media, on Twitter. He is a clown on Twitter, okay? I reached out to him hoping to get him on the show.
That's
Shocker,
what Deron Payne was saying. Somebody on the turf more than on the field.
And that's fine.
How has he got nerve to say that?
Yeah, respect your corn elders. Come on, man.
Metaphor, not the joke there. Tanner Austin, RG3 can talk and has no history to bring credibility.
See, that's not true.
He has credibility.
He has extreme credibility.
I mean, we were 3-6 and won 7 in a row and went 10-6 and lost in the first round of playoffs against Seattle only because of injury. I mean, he brought life to what we've been missing.
He's the best thing that happened to this team in the last 20 plus years.
Hate to say it, but it's true.
The best thing that's happened to this team in the last 20 years.
Nathan. Come on, think about
was Sean Taylor in those 20 years?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, Sean Taylor was somewhere right around the edge, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he would have been.
I don't know the year
because 20 years would bring us back to 2002. That's
we'll say
Sean
10 years.
Taylor's time frame.
10 years.
I'll go 15,
10.
a little bit, maybe
when RG3 was there, 10.
He's the best thing that happened to this team in the last 15 years.
7 in a row, guys. You guys remember that? Oh my
god! It was exciting. It was an exciting time. Here's the thing. I think I disagree with him on the D line being more important. I can see where some of our commenters talk about how Carson Wentz being an improvement is a given. The D line needs to show up. Yeah,
it does.
But then you say that. You don't say that the D line's more important than Carson Wentz.
Right.
That's not what he
worded
said.
That wrong.
He said Carson Wentz is the D line showing up is more important than Carson Wentz. That's not the case.
No.
You say Carson Wentz is a given, D line needs to show up too. That's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. It's also a fair assessment. The 4 first-round picks on the defensive front has to equal dominance. We've been saying that's been something everybody in Washington. Thank you, Tailgate, with the
because they're going to have a 15-year. They're going to do the whole thing. On
so you can't say best thing to happen to us in 2 decades when Sean Taylor's part of that.
14 and a half years.
So that part's true. I think everybody realizes that and everybody says that. He stepped over a line when he starts saying, stop fighting on the sidelines, start fighting in the trenches.
Yeah, come on, bro.
That part and that's what I think
you're a quarterback.
Took that comment and was just like, no, you don't get to say anything about this.
Their butts
he was cool until he made that comment, and then it's like,
you're probably right. You're probably right.
And you didn't mention the names in the original tweet. You subtweeting like a joker. So,
By the way, 8 games difference. Deron Payne has played 8 more games.
8 more games than Robert
has started a good amount more, but 8 games difference as far as
half a season. Woo woo.
Yeah,
both have 1 playoff loss is all I'm saying. When it comes down to it. All right, let's move on to a different hot take.
Okay.
This is one of our very own. We're going to talk the Terry McLaurin contract. A lot of people
might as well cancel the rest of the show and just keep it this. This ain't gonna be no 10-minute segment, though.
A lot of people expect this contract to get signed, especially now that Dan might get subpoenaed. So you're going to need some good news flow. As much as I think that would be right on brand with what the Commanders have done here over the last year and a half or so, is dropping good news after bad news. I don't think football operations quite work that way. So they still have to get on those terms. Now, someone in this group thinks things are going to be a little different, right, Trev?
Yep. And that would be
how's that
me.
going to go?
I think we're going to drop the ball and not get a long-term deal done with Terry McLaurin. And
you predicting that, or are you just think that we need to kind of talk about that there's a possibility, or do you think that that's really going to happen?
Both. I really think that that's going to happen.
Well, go ahead.
I think that we should brace ourselves for that. And here's why. Yes, everybody is saying they're hoping it's comparing to the Jonathan Allen situation. Here's my sorry, Tanner Austin. Here is my rebuttal to that. Last year, when we were trying to sign John Allen, we could take our time because the defensive lineman market was nothing. It wasn't making news. It wasn't making airwaves. It was just,
and they weren't threatening to hold out.
No,
they
weren't threatening to hold out. No,
right.
But we just knew we had to get it done because of who Jonathan Allen is as a person on and off the field. Okay. Terry is a wide receiver. Came into our camp as a special teams prototype, but then emerged to number one wide receiver because of our wide receiver depth. And now this year, the wide receiver market, as it does every year, goes up. And now this year, it pretty much says, no matter who you are, you want some money, and you make a statement about it, you'll get paid. Christian Kirk, Jaguars. Number 2, maybe even 3 from Arizona gets paid for a number 1 spot contract. AJ Brown. Yes, he was good in Tennessee, but they had him and a failing elderly Julio Jones. So he was obviously number 1. Then the Eagles paid him as his position, maybe not as his stats. I don't know his stats, whatever. Terry McLaurin sees all that happening, and we all know what he's put up stat-wise with 8 different quarterbacks, the off-the-field stuff within the organization, the dark cloud that hangs over Washington that was there when we drafted him that's not going to leave until you know what happens. And now we have pressure to give him all that money when we also need money to provide depth for other positions on our squad. We all said Landon Collins post-June 1st cut's going to help the Terry situation. Well, here we are going on 5 weeks till training camp, and there's really nothing happening. I think we drop the ball and we don't give him the money that he wants. And we're back in wide receiver purgatory. And then to counter that, we select Jahan Dotson at 16 because we have an inkling that we're not going to be able to get this long-term deal done for Terry. We'll franchise him. He'll be number 1 this year, and then he's gone next year, and Jahan Dotson will move into that number 1 spot. And that's my hot take.
How come you don't remove Trev when he says something so outlandish? But when I say
I'll walk away right here.
No, you got to stay and you got to take your lickings, Trev.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah,
I guess
I have a theory.
Hold on, we got the.
Oh, what?
That's our response to him in this take. Like, I like Tanner's idea here. If you're gonna say this, Trev, I need a commitment to a dare of Nathan and Stoner's choice when the contract drops.
When, not if.
When
it comes out that we've signed him.
Yeah, yes. Then you have to.
You have to do something that him and I agree to for you.
It'll happen.
Aaron saying that is so outlandish, Trev.
I'm not saying I love my hot take. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it.
Right, but you're predicting this.
I'm predicting that.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
I think Ron is coming out saying he's saying what he has to say.
I agree with that.
Okay. But I don't think he feels, and I don't think what's happening in the back behind the scenes is what he's saying is happening. I really don't. Terry is out here posting pictures of him, like he does fish, but like just random outfit pictures, like posting more on Twitter, like being more vocal. If things were as good as they were, why is he being this vocal and stuff like that? Why is he learning and growing all of a sudden on Twitter? Why is he posting?
He's developing leverage. He's developing
exactly. Which when I think, and here's we offer more money to free agents to come here than we do on in-house players, and that's a problem. We should take care of in-house before we go trying to be beautiful in the offseason. Yeah, make us a move here or two there, but we got $28 million to Carson Wentz, and we got Terry sitting here like, yo, bro, like I'm a captain on the squad. I was here before Carson Wentz. I put up 1,000 yards without Carson Wentz, and you're willing to make a trade and take on $28 million? What about me?
Well, what
Taylor
about you?
Heineke.
We're going to pay you.
Yeah, but then I feel like we're like, okay, we hear you, but like, maybe like 20 million. And Terry's like, 20 million? AJ Brown just got 25. Christian Kirk just got 26, 27. And I'm better than both of them.
Sign it early. I think 20 was where they were going to try to hit. 20 to 22 is probably.
If you franchise tag me, you're pretty much paying what I want a year.
Mm-hmm.
You're
so just go ahead and give it to
28
me
next year if they franchise him, because he either plays on his rookie deal, which by the way he's earned less.
I'm really scared, guys.
Than Jahan Dotson has earned already in his career.
Yeah, but that's
lock him up. Lock him up.
I think that the deal's going to happen. There's
lock him up
no
now.
question in my mind.
But
Trev, okay, so
here, I have a theory for you.
Okay,
I have a theory that's been floated out there, and I've pondered it a little bit. And the theory is that when you, the facts before the theory, but the facts are when you sign a guy to a big contract and you guarantee money. So let's just say they're going to give him what the going rate is, and they give him 61 million guaranteed. AJ Brown got like 58 point something million. So he's going to be right around there, just a little bit ahead because he signed afterwards. So $60 million.
Okay.
The Commanders have to take $60 million and they have to put it in an account, for lack of a better word. They have to physically transfer the money to put it into an escrow. Okay, $60 million, even though they're not going to pay it to Terry right away because it's going to be broken up.
Mm-hmm.
The theory is because Washington is also the 30th ranked team in the league in terms of the amount of guaranteed money they gave this offseason to
I know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The theory is that there's a cash flow problem, that they don't have $60 million to set aside for Terry right now. They're doing some things to get it ready so that he can put $60 million aside. And I don't hate that. Now, you can say Dan's got the 300-foot yacht that cost him $100-something million only a couple years ago. He bought a $50 million house just last year.
The organization itself
right?
has enough
the
money
organization,
to give
I say the NFL gives the organization money at the beginning.
They give him $1 billion to start the year.
So
$1
billion.
So I'm pretty sure cash flow isn't going to be a problem.
But Dan has taken certain businesses and run them right into the ground, right? So maybe he doesn't have the way it's done, the accounting behind the scenes. He doesn't have $60 million to put aside. Maybe that's why they haven't
pulling his
signed
money from the offshore account.
Okay,
maybe you can't do that.
Yacht.
Maybe you.
Then don't come out here on the damn podium and say we're definitely not trading Terry. He is the most valuable piece. Like, don't say that.
They'll figure it out.
You have to say that.
You don't have to say that. Just keep saying what you're saying. Talks are still ongoing. We're progressing. Like, say that. Be real. Don't say we are not trading Terry. He's a valuable piece. Well, he doesn't. He doesn't feel like it. Obviously, you got Christian Kirk. They wasted no time on Christian Kirk, bro. Terry McLaurin has a C on his chest for a reason. His name ain't Christian. It's Terry McLaurin. That C stands for captain. Okay, and we're just like, oh well.
They botched it being the Jaguars.
They botched that by not signing him early on, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you value this person, show it, bro. Don't just say on the podium, we're not trading Terry. And you got Terry out here living life like, I'm fishing. Ain't no talks going on. I'm about to leave. I'm liking Reggie Wayne's tweets.
So,
come on, man.
After all of this,
initiative and
after all that you're saying, if they sign him 3 weeks from now,
hallelujah.
Everything that they said was true.
I don't like 3 weeks from now.
Well,
because then once we do that, we're gonna have to sign, like, I don't know. We need help. So get this money out the way, and whatever's left, see if you can go get an Anthony Barr that's been rumored out there. See if you can go get some linebacker depth, because Terry don't play linebacker depth. So if you just sign him now, bro. Sign him now.
They will when they're gonna sign him? You know when they're going to sign him?
They're not going to.
They're going to sign him next week.
No, yeah, as a franchise tag.
After Dan
has his
man.
deposition.
No, dude. No, this is
hold
football.
on.
This has
the
nothing to
conspiracy
do
music?
with after that. Nah.
There's
Well,
the
that's the
Stoner's
case.
Conspiracy.
No, hell no. Because that just blows your theory out the water of $60 million that I have to save, and since Dan has a $3 million yacht or whatever.
Right.
We're not signing him long term. If it's gonna happen, it'll happen right now.
Yeah.
No, they're going to sign him long term. It's going to happen. This one's from Tailgate here. At what point does Mayhew come out publicly with the offer the team made Terry to try to make him the bad guy like they did Sheriff?
Never.
If they don't sign, if Terry holds out for the entire season, which is big if, not going to happen, I would not be surprised to hear some inkling. Maybe not directly, but then you're going to hear the numbers floating out from the media where they're going to talk.
I mean, pay the man, bro.
So it's gonna happen here.
It's not.
Yeah, Tailgate did agree with you. Here's another thing from Tailgate I'm going to bring back up here. Tailgate says, if you're Terry, why would you even want to commit to a team that hasn't committed to wins as its long-term option? If Carson fails, then Sam Howell's QB1. Terry's back in QB limbo hell again. Here's the thing. They actually do have Carson for 3 years. Now, they're only having to pay him $28 million this year. They can cut him next season. So that's where I think that we're getting that he's not committed to long-term. But
he's got 3 more years left on the contract.
He has 3 more years on this contract.
Just
so
not
if
guaranteed.
he plays well, Terry at least has a QB for those 3 seasons.
If he resigns.
Now, here's the thing. The longer, and this is what I don't like about the holdout, the longer he holds out, the less he's getting time to kind of work out the
bingo
Carson Wentz. Now,
chemistry,
that being said, this man has
Dotson.
produced with some not great QBs. We've talked about that. If I think that he is essentially QB proof in that regard, and he will be able to produce with Carson regardless.
But imagine if he had a competent
earlier.
Yeah, if he had chemistry with a competent quarterback, imagine what he would be like.
Tailgate, I have one answer, one very simple answer. Why would Terry sign here?
Yeah.
$61 million. That's why he'll sign here. He can't afford to sit out this year or play this year.
We can't
at
even
$2.7 million and risk a career-ending injury. He
Bro,
can't.
we can't. We can't even
million.
guarantee our free agents good money. We're 30th ranked in guaranteed money. So what makes you think we're going to give Terry 61?
That's being overblown. I think that is absolutely being
stats. Stat.
They're going to sign him.
They're going to sign him.
They're not going to sign him.
That
you heard
is
it right
more
here.
of a guarantee than Dan Snyder ever showing up in the Capitol to take his comeuppance. In fact, that's what we're going to be talking about here on The Game is Goodell's testimony today, as it was the topic du jour. Coming up here on The Game. The Game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running. Thank you for sticking with us here on Ref the District as we hit the game. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and like this video, and let us know what you felt about today's testimony with Roger Goodell, answering questions about football, PSI, and all sorts of stuff. Skins Fan Daily there, what up to you? Shout out to my man Jeremy. That's why he is called Scary Terry, with a competent QB. For our Terry talk just before the jump there. My man's a Browns fan, so I really want to talk some of those topics that I'm sure he's eager to talk about. But this is a Commanders show, and we're going to talk about Goodell in front of Congress and the Oversight Committee. I watched a decent portion of it. Trev, you're going to be all your takes right now are going to be live, hot, just from hearing our positions on things.
Mm-hmm.
And Stoner, you did us all a favor and you trudged through the entirety.
3.5 hours, baby.
That a baby, Stoner.
I was watching it on YouTube. I was working in the building today, so I didn't get to watch it. But on my commute home, I take a commuter bus for those who are, no panic. on that regard, please. I wasn't watching a YouTube video while I was driving or anything like that. I was watching it at 1.75 speed and still could not get through the entire video on like an hour and a half commute.
Yeah. It was a long one.
It was a long
and there
one.
were some very, very interesting things that were discussed. There were some interesting corners that Goodell got pushed into. But make no mistake, and we kind of argued about this beforehand, before this hearing, Roger Goodell completely supported, defended, helped, stood by, whatever, everything that he possibly could without lying, without being proven a liar, because there was definitely some lies in there. He did it all. He was there for Dan Snyder. He was protecting the shield. Dan Snyder is part of that shield. Dan Snyder pays part of his salary. He gets $64 million a year so that means a couple millions coming from Dan Snyder. So he's going to protect Dan Snyder or else he's going to be out of a job. But there were a lot of really interesting points, and I don't know if you want me to just bring one up and see what Trev thinks about it.
Yeah, go ahead and we're going to go point by point with this. So Stoner,
I'm not going to get too deep,
here?
But one of the things that came out of this investigation, this is not just with the committee, but it was brought up by the committee because a lot of this investigation is by the Washington Post, right? They've been on this from the very, very beginning. The reason they had an investigation in the first place was because of the Washington Post, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things is the Washington Post has said that the organization had a shadow investigation going. Okay. And a shadow during the Wilkinson investigation. A shadow investigation means the team was investigating the people that were making claims against the team. So the people we talked to on our After the Whistle, who they said on our show, said that they were being followed by private investigators, right? Right. So that was the team was doing that, was hiring investigators to get dirt on them, to discredit them for anything that they say against the commanders. And they were also doing this to the journalists who were writing things against them. The Will Hobson who came out with the stories today, the Liz Clark, these reporters. They were running a shadow investigation so that they could discredit these people if they ever needed to. And that is shady AF. And it is unethical, but it's not illegal. But just think about, for example, Megan Imbert was one of the people we had on our show, and she told us that she was followed by private investigators. Imagine everything that she went through as a victim in this case when she was a member of the commanders. And then after she reported it, and then after she talked to the investigators, now she's being followed by investigators who were doing this to a lot of different people. I mean, what kind of shady?
AKA
that crap.
We're trying to cover up what we did. Hello.
So if you say anything, so if Megan says anything, for an example, then they can just say, "Oh yeah, well, I saw Megan doing this," or "I heard she was
one of the things that you see if you follow her on Twitter. I see a lot of people bringing up is the picture of her with Larry Michael. And people are like, well, if he's so bad, and if the situation's so bad, why do you have a picture with him? Well, she's quick to point out she was 18 when she started there. Like,
and he was her boss.
Yeah. So,
a direct reporting supervisor.
People will do this, and people do this in these kind of harassment or abuse cases. That's the first thing you do is you try to discredit. And this is something that to shout out to my man Jeremy, that Deshaun Watson is likely to do if those cases continue. Is they're going to try to discredit those women and their credibility, because if you can discredit them, right, and they take a hit to their credibility, then the judge and jury and court of public opinion starts going, well, is it really legit? Is it really what's happening? Because this person really isn't on the level with some stuff. You saw that with the one reporter during the roundtable. the male one, because people started bringing up his tweets.
Oh
where they're
yeah,
like
He was the employee.
Brad.
he was
Brad.
he's as an employee. He was he was making some questionable tweets, and they're like, well, this is the guy you're going to trust.
Yeah.
So I think it's I think that you're right. It's a completely shady thing to do. It's not something
Ethical.
you want to encourage people to do, but it is common practice. Shout out to our friends of the channel there, the Command This podcast, with the $5 donation
nice.
here, $4.99.
Appreciate that, boys.
My guys, it's a low down dirty shame. It
Great movie, too.
absolutely is.
It is.
Make sure you head out to the Command This podcast and subscribe to their channel. Great people, and you might see them tomorrow. A little preview for our Wizards guest list there.
Here's another one, and tell me how you dispute what Roger Goodell is saying. Okay, because he was asked this from a number of different Congress people, this in varying forms, but essentially it was this. And he kept saying that, yes, we admit, or the organization admits, that there was a toxic workplace environment. There was bullying. There was demeaning language, disrespect towards colleagues, embarrassment and harassment within the organization. We admit all of that. Okay. They didn't mention anything about sexual harassment or sexual misconduct, but they admitted to all those other things. However, when they got their oral report from the Wilkinson team, they punished and held the team accountable. They punished them with a $10 million fine. They punished Dan by making him stay away, right? And they told them that they have to revamp their entire HR department, which they have done. And now they have one of the most diverse front offices in all of the NFL, that Jason Wright is leading. And by all accounts, it is a much improved workplace environment with Jason in charge. So what's the problem here? We investigated, you got him, we punished them, he's been held accountable, now it's better, let's move on. What's the problem with that? I'm just
the problem.
devil's advocate.
Isn't the NFL conduct policy applicable? That's so hard to say. Doesn't it apply
You might have
to
added an extra P there.
coaches and owners, not just players?
What do you mean? Say that again.
Doesn't the NFL conduct policy apply to coaches and owners, not just players?
Yeah, of course.
So when Ray Rice had his incident, did they find the team $10 million and said, "Hey, you stay away from the team"? What happened with that?
No, but that's not. But what Ray Rice
happened
did
with
was
that?
not in a workplace environment.
But he's a part of a football sports organization,
Okay,
right?
Right.
So
But
that wasn't in the environment, but this is in the environment.
Right.
And
That's why
all we're saying is pay us $10 million, stay away from the facility for a few minutes.
Okay.
And
he's still listed, much listed as the co-owner.
And we'll just revamp the front office to hide what you. I agree. The front office is great now, but they've
made serious improvements, and that should be recognized. And those people should be celebrated.
But they still answer to who? They still work for who? Someone who's you're not allowed to come to the facility for a few weeks, and here's $10 million.
Right.
You know,
but I mean,
that's not holding you accountable, bro.
But that's you, Trev. That's you saying, I want you to punish them more. Well, they punished them.
Well, they did, but
it's never enough.
A football player gets suspended for an entire year for gambling on FanDuel.
Don't compare.
It's the same league, bro. It's conduct.
Totally different situation.
But it's conduct. It's conduct. It doesn't matter if it's sexual, gambling, domestic. It's conduct. It's the word conduct applies to everybody in the league, so everybody should be accountable for the same thing. Deshaun Watson. I don't care if you settle 20 cases.
I don't agree with that.
Exactly. 20 cases.
No, I don't agree with when you say everybody should be held to the same standard. It doesn't.
If you're going to suspend
a player, the owners are supposed to be held to a higher standard.
If you're going to suspend a wide receiver for gambling, and you're going to fine an NFL owner who is the leader of said player for sexual misconduct, not for 1 year, but for 10 plus years.
It's not sexual misconduct. They're not admitting to that.
They don't have to admit it, but
Hostile
it's literally what happened. But since they said they didn't admit it, doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's what happened. And you only get fined $10 million and say stay away for a few weeks. Come on, bro. If you're going, he's the owner. He pays the boss of the NFL out of his pocket, and he gets fined and says stay away. But a player who's not in the playoffs, who wants to gamble a little bit of money on a public gambling site, gets suspended for an entire year. Just like that, without even saying like a hesitation or we're going to mull over it, just like that. But this has been going on for 10 plus years, and he's the owner and pays the boss of the NFL, which he quote unquote works for or works with at the same time. Not fair at all, bro.
Well, you're comparing apples to oranges.
No, it's the same league.
I know.
The MLB, Trevor Bauer, Major League Baseball, allegedly suspended 2 years.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been proven. Come on,
Trev,
bro.
I'm going to give you. There's a military saying that applies here. Different
don't
spanks. Tell. No. Goodness gracious, no. Different spanks for different ranks is the saying.
I hate it, bro.
I'm not saying it's right.
Backwards.
I'm just saying that's what happens.
Right.
When you're at the top of the totem pole, the 10 million is seen as a big slap, even though we know that money wise that's pocket change,
right?
Okay, but
is it?
That's more. That's more. Being asked to step away from your business is a pretty big deal. So that's why they're saying, yeah, we held him accountable. Is it the same as the players? No, but the players aren't also the ones pulling in these big paychecks. They're not the ones who own the team. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's that different spanks for different ranks. And when you're the low man on the totem pole and you mess up, then
that's what I'm saying,
you're going to get there. And
the optics is bad.
Oh, the optics really are bad. Now, I will say this. There's also not necessarily a smoking gun against Dan Snyder at this point.
There's not.
Right? Ray Rice had a video. Ray Rice was only going to get, I think, a 2-game suspension until the video was released. Right. And then it was just like, no, he can't ever be in the league again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Adrian Peterson, his thing blew up after images were released of his child's bottom being bruised. Okay, that's when that actually took off. Otherwise, it was going to be one of those things they just swept underneath the rug. And there's still not an actual smoking gun. The report, right, with quotations, doesn't actually exist. What we have
does exist, by the way, but go ahead.
It does
not
exist.
Officially.
Not yet.
Right.
So there's nothing there to really kind of hold to him. Even then, the report probably isn't going to be enough.
Yeah,
it's got to be. It's as Stoner, you've said countless times. The only thing that's going to remove Dan Snyder from the ownership of this team is a videotape or audio recording of him saying a racist comment.
Right.
Yeah.
Until that happens, Dan is here to stay, and the shield is going to protect him.
Unless they can prove the sexual assault. Which
misconduct,
if they can prove that,
they probably can. I mean, maybe it's already been proven, just hasn't been released yet. We don't know that.
You have the incident that just came out also again yesterday, basically, that has been rumored and it's been written about, but didn't really come completely out until yesterday. Again, Washington Post released it, where Dan paid off a woman $1.6 or $1.7 million. Because of a sexual harassment claim or sexual assault claim on a private airplane, on Dan's private airplane back in 2009. Okay, so that came out, and they asked Goodell about that because the Washington football team self-investigated. It's against NFL policy to self-investigate sexual assault or sexual harassment claims. Okay, it's against their policy. So they asked Goodell, did you know about this investigation, this self-investigation in 2009? And he said, no, I didn't know about it. So, and now we make sure that will never happen again. But something like that, if they can prove that, and I don't think they can prove it in this situation. They paid her off to basically keep her quiet and not have this thing go viral. Yeah, I don't know if viral was a thing back in 2009, but it would have gotten out and it would have been big, right?
You're not that old.
But he was going to countersue for $2 million for defamation. But again, you'd have to go through a whole big deal. So his insurance company said, just settle it for $1.7 million and be done with it. Now it's starting to come out. So I just don't think that they have a smoking gun, as Nathan was saying. Right now that they don't. And that's not going to get him taken out.
So what is the subpoena going to do?
So, and that was kind of the last point.
Yeah.
That was the last point I was going to get to about this. There were two major takeaways that I had from this. What up, Kobe? Two major takeaways. The first
Have
one.
our cat's been hanging out, Stoner? Our cat's been hanging out lately.
Where's the Scotch tape, guys? No. Let's get these two out here because there is some news. EP helping us out here. Coach Rivera just made a statement. We're going to bring that up here. Here shortly. So go ahead and hit the 2 points. I have this up. I'll share the screen once we're finished with these two.
Yeah,
points.
the two major points were this that Trev just kind of mentioned is that early on in the hearing that the Congresswoman Maloney, who's the chair of the committee, says we are going to subpoena Dan next week for a deposition. Okay, deposition is different than a hearing. Deposition is behind closed doors with your lawyer sitting next to you telling you what to say and what not to say.
Yeah.
But it's a subpoena, and that's a big, big, big deal. You can't not
escape it.
You can't not go when they give you a subpoena, or else you go to jail, basically. Okay. So that's a really big deal that he is being subpoenaed for that. And then I forgot my other big point, and it was actually a really huge point in regards to all of this. So if you guys go on, I'm going to look it up where I had it.
I'm going to bring up, there's actually two statements that we're going to want to share here.
Okay.
This one, though, is hot off the presses. So I'm going to go with Ron Rivera's first. But the team, Dan Snyder, Tanya, and Jason Wright posted something as well or shared something to theirs. But this one right here is Ron Rivera's take on this. With all due respect to the proceedings, I want to clarify a few things. When Dan and Tanya Snyder were in the process of hiring me, they asked me to do two things: win and help change our culture. So to be clear, on January 2nd, 2020, the day I was hired, we started putting into place tangible protocols in our efforts to correct any inappropriate workplace issues and improve our workplace environment. The Snyders were very deliberate in finding the best person to run the business side, and I was consulted throughout the process. We agreed that Jason Wright was the best person, not because he checked off a box as a minority, but because of his experience as an NFL player, his education and work experience as a partner with McKinsey & Company. Jason has been nothing but exceptional in hiring a talented and diverse group of people to run the business side. Throughout the fall of 2020, the organization saw many new standards put in place and protocols for employees to voice and address any issues, as well as putting an NFC East Division winning team on the field. When the Wilkinson report was completed in the spring of 2021 on behalf of the NFL, our organization had already put into place or was in the process of implementing the suggestions mentioned in the report. These investigations into inappropriate workplace issues predates my employment. I cannot change the past, but I would hope that our fans, the NFL, and Congress can see that we are doing everything in our power to never repeat those workplace issues and know that our employees are respected, valued, and can be heard. Change the culture, check. Win, we're working on it. Go Commanders, Coach Ron Rivera.
No, there's a lot of stuff that he had to say in there.
Yes.
But I actually agree with everything he says.
Yeah, I do too, but at the same time, it's like that team and everything that they're doing still answer to Dan Snyder, bro. Okay?
Well, I get it. I get it. But there's no smoke.
Dan. I know, that's the thing. So, like, I appreciate the statement by Ron Rivera, which is all true, yes. But at the same time, it's like, Bro, we know that. We just want the owner to be held accountable. This has nothing to do with
NFL
you right
sees
now.
that they've already held the owner accountable, though.
Yeah, because of it,
That's
and
right.
which is wild to me. Just wild.
One of the things I'll say is I don't think enough credit is given because fans are really anti-Dan. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
They're
every fan is.
Every fan.
Every fan.
They
There isn't
want,
one.
They want Dan Snyder to get fired, as Germ here points out here. That's probably not going to happen. But what has happened is people are in place and have been for the last 2 years and are working to change that. Now, I don't see enough credit being given to that. And I'm not saying it's perfect. And I think that even Julie and Jason would tell you that it's not perfect, but we're working at it.
And we know that.
And I think you know that, Trev.
Yeah,
I
I do.
And I think Stoner knows that, but I think the general fan base isn't willing to give credit to these people who are working hard. And I think one of the reasons why Ron came out and said this is because two reasons. And I'm conspiracy theory music on the second one. The first one is I do want people to understand, like, this is not the same team it was when these horrible things were happening. Okay, that's the first reason. Second reason, and this is my Nathan's conspiracy tinfoil hat here. Okay, the second reason is they need to put that out so that way further punishment doesn't come down on the team, because the
which is so
going to get bigger, right? That's one of the reasons why it's being brought from Congress, is because they want more attention to it and they want more punishment. That punishment is not going to be Dan Snyder getting fired. That punishment is going to be draft picks. That punishment is going to be further fines and salary cap hits and stuff like this. And so Ron Rivera, my tinfoil hat, he's coming out and he's trying to make sure, like, you understand, like, don't punish the team now. We're trying to build something here. You know, punish.
True.
You we're trying to move past the past.
But at the same time,
not happening.
Those same people are living by the motto, change starts at the top. They don't give a damn about anything else underneath that until change happens at the top.
But
they have a point. It's not that easy, but it's a good point, because that's obviously the obvious solution. We can preach about Ron and Jason all we want, which we deservedly should, but change starts at the top because they still answer to Dan Snyder.
Yeah. So the other big
away
thing,
with everything.
The other big takeaway I had from this is that for the first time, I actually have a little bit of hope about the Dan Snyder situation. And here's why. We can't forget that when they had that round table back in February, just before the name change, the name announcement, and something happened in that round table, which you had the one young lady, and I think it was Melanie Coburn. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe
she was the first one to speak.
It's not. But she detailed a specific charge against Dan, saying that Dan tried to force her into the back of a limo. Yeah,
it was Tanya. It was another cheerleader. Cheerleader.
I got that wrong.
But yeah, because his agent had to tell Dan, "Yo, what are you doing?"
Right. So, what came of that? A new investigation led by, I think it's Mary Jo White. I'm terrible at
names.
Mary Jo White.
Yeah.
But it's the White investigation now, right? So that was brought up today, and it was guaranteed that the results of that investigation will be made public in a written report. If it comes out that Dan, it was proven that Dan did do something.
Now we got a smoking gun.
Dan directly did something.
That's a smoking gun, right?
You've got something. Now you've got something here. You've got something with teeth. When people below are doing things and you had this terrible environment, that's one thing. But when you got the guy that everybody wants out, you've got him committing a crime. Now you've got something. So
smoking gun.
That hasn't come out yet, and it will come out at some point. The results of that investigation. That's just a sliver of hope. I'm still a 99%. This guy is going to be the owner.
Damn, you're sliver.
40 years from now, and 1% is that he's not.
Yeah, as Tailgate mentions here, Dan isn't going anywhere. The $10 million fine is how they
Yeah.
held him accountable in their
Yeah.
eyes. Will not get 24 votes to get him out.
You won't.
P-Dub,
Sad.
almost the entire NFL fan base doesn't want Dan to be the owner.
right.
I might disagree with that. I think there are plenty of people who would be happy, some owners even, keeping Dan in power if that means this franchise
You
continues
got all the money. That's
to
why.
be not as illustrious as it once was. I'm going to just address this one real quick from Tone Jaw. So Congress out for Dan when they're just as dysfunctional as themselves.
Yeah, what the hell? I
Funny.
heard that they were talking about other things outside of the Commanders, what they were there for.
Yeah,
That's
there
the-
was a lot of that grandstanding from certain individuals. There was one in particular, Fallon, right?
Congressman
Jimmy Fallon?
No, it's his name.
That would have been a lot funnier than this
Yeah.
guy who's
I thought
trying
he
to
was-
crack jokes with Tom Slim Brady, and
wow.
Oh, you got to see that one, Trey.
And
It is
yeah,
insane.
he went off about Deflategate for his entirety, and then had the audacity to sit there and call it a clown show when he was the one being a clown. So
No, he
it's-
was
yeah.
from
He's from
Texas,
New
I
England.
believe.
Was he Texas? I thought he
Yeah.
said that he's a New England man, but maybe I misheard
that's
that.
where he grew
I
up.
miss things when you watch it.
We
at
can't even get a
1.75
Congress hearing
speed.
to go the way that we want it to go. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, and that's they did this during the roundtable as well.
Yeah.
If you were
Yeah,
not
they
for
were-
it,
mhm.
you waste that time instead of
Mhm.
actually bringing up the topic that's actually supposed to be held. Because a lot of these, representatives don't feel like the oversight committee should be looking into a private company.
Right.
So rather than entertain those lines of questioning of it, they just talk about something else. And I think it really does a disservice to the victims
Progress.
of
Oh,
this
yes.
hostile work environment. And that's honestly something that I do think that they should take seriously. And if they don't feel that this hearing should be taking place, and they feel like they should be working on something more important, which a lot of them mentioned some of those things, then at least educate us on those things that are more important instead of wasting everybody's time talking about football PSI and Deflategate and Tom Slim Brady and Thomas, whatever his middle name is.
Edward
Brady, as we
Patrick
have
Brady
called.
Jr.
Don't waste our time with that.
Well, I will say this, that the current job that I have right now affords me the opportunity to go to a lot of hearings. I've been to dozens and dozens of hearings over the last 5, 6, 7, well, not since the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, probably somewhere in 40 to 50 hearings that I've been inside and watched. That's normal. That's how hearings work.
Yeah.
If you are against what the hearing is about, then you're
Bring up
going
something
to
else.
you've
waste
got
the time.
5 minutes. You're going to use that 5 minutes to do whatever you want to do, whatever sort of statement you want to make. If you want to do comedy, if you want to talk about something else, this is the way it works. And it's
Yeah.
and I thought it was good though that Commanders fans, football fans, and all finally got to see what really happens in Congress, and they can
Right.
understand now why gas is at $6 a gallon. And
Can we talk
inflation
about the
went out of
Wizards
control
now?
and all that.
Why maybe that you need to make sure that you vote and you pay attention to who
Yes.
you're voting for, because it happens, like Stoner said, on both sides. Here again,
Yeah.
my thing is,
Yes,
if you're
on
going
both
to waste the time, educate us with something worthwhile. I'm going to share just the last page of the note here from the 3 business people when it comes to the Commanders. Try to get this read. It looks like I might not be able to get too big here, but we believe the statements that have been made in the media critical of our organization do not accurately reflect our positive transformation and the current reality of the Washington Commanders organization that exists today. Such statements do a disservice to the nearly 300 Commanders employees who are feeling greater pride in the team today than at any time in recent history, because they are part of an organization that is getting it right and setting a league-wide standard on the issues raised by the committee. There's simply no committee more knowledgeable on the Washington Commanders than our own team members. We are extraordinarily grateful for your efforts in creating a place where all feel welcome. We see you and are proud of you. So this was the note signed by Tanya Snyder, co-owner and co-CEO, Dan Snyder, co-owner and co-CEO, and Jason Wright, the president of the Commanders, to the Commanders organization. They list out in this letter that Adam Schefter was the one to report the 10 recommendations from the Wilkinson report, which
that they've complied with.
They complied with, which is interesting. I mean, I guess they were taking copious notes when that oral report was given to be able to remember those 10 things. But again, I do agree. Like, they're trying to move forward with it. I don't necessarily think that excuses the past behavior.
Right.
And, but as we've mentioned several times, the NFL thinks that they've already punished Dan Snyder enough. So
I actually like that statement. And again, I agree with that statement. I think have fixed it. But that, like Nathan said, that doesn't excuse you, but they have fixed it. And maybe we should talk about that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, it's obvious.
In the media. I don't mean just us. I just mean the media in general needs to maybe talk about that a little bit more.
Shout out, the real MVP is whoever writes these statements, because
my guess is Jason Wright or somebody within his, and then that probably was digi-signed by Tanya.
Hey, sign this. Okay.
Because he's in France on his yacht, right?
Yeah.
Real quick, you brought up the media. There's one other thing that I think needs to be talked about within the realm of this hearing, and that was a clip.
Ooh,
that was.
And are we going to go there? That's like,
I mean, just for a tiny bit, I have a take on that, and I won't go into it. So I want to talk about the Wizards.
I do want to bring it up, and I'm gonna try to get the audio here as well,
because it needs to be. I mean,
I think it's pertinent to the conversation today,
for sure. Yeah.
All right. So,
I do.
Your thoughts on it could be as muted as you want. Not that we ever really do that, but this is what. One of the things that was shared today, which caused a big storm, especially with fan base who might not always like the media here. And so I'm going to play this video with some audio.
Couldn't tell if you wanted me to go longer or shorter or what.
I do think our intern is looking better every day. I do think our intern is a little blonde there talking to Ace. She's blonde and black. Yeah.
The hell of the outfit in the middle of June.
She's looking freaking pretty good. I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
240.
So that was the one, the only Larry Michael making comments about one of their interns, and that other voice, Trav.
Yeah, dog.
Who was that other voice?
That's JP Finley.
Mm-hmm.
You might know from NBC Sports, Washington.
106.7 The Fan.
106.7 The Fan. B. Mitch and Finley podcast. Here's my comment on it. Not everyone is safe. You can smile at all you want in the camera to us and give your opinions. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is that. You need to sign this player. You give all your takes. You're a prominent person in the media for the Washington football team / Commanders, alongside with Brian Mitchell. You've come out publicly. You're married. You got kids. All that stuff. You're JP Finley. Everybody goes to you for when they want to know the source for what's going on. And you have the audacity to make a comment to tags along with Larry Michael's comments. No matter I don't care if it's hell of an outfit in June. He didn't really say, you made a comment to pair with Larry Michael's comments that were already inappropriate. No one is safe. That's all I have to say.
Stoner, you want to add anything to this?
Man, it's so hard because you know what? I promise you, everybody in our chat, everybody who's listening and watching right now, the three of us on the screen have done or said something exactly what JP Finley said. That doesn't make it right, but we've all learned, matured, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I have sympathy or empathy, maybe empathy is the right word,
Yeah.
for JP in that it wasn't a terrible comment, but everybody wants to just turn everybody in for a comment that they make on their own. And I don't think that that's real life. And that was such a non big deal comment that he made. In context, it wasn't great, but for everybody who talks about another person of the opposite sex, are they just supposed to turn them in because we've never looked at anybody and said, "Ooh, she's hot."
Stoner,
We've never done that.
I agree with you, but the comment came after Larry Michaels' inappropriate comments. So he was piggybacking off that, but he said it in what he thought was a safe way to say what he really wanted to say.
Right.
It's a hell of an outfit in June, aka look what she got on. Look what that's.
I think, it's possible that's where that's going. There's the context I do think is kind of missing, and I've seen people kind of like
you can't even see the person like.
Yeah, there's definitely some contextualizing that needs to be done there. The comment is not great.
No, bro.
I think on surface level, the comment isn't great. Now, people going after him, I think, are probably a little too gleeful in trying to do that.
Everybody.
I would like
nobody lives in glass houses that they can just attack somebody for such a benign comment.
Metaphor says I'm a saint. I'm a choir boy, which is certainly not the case. But and I think someone asked, what specifically did he say? That was Gus Bus asking, what did JP Finley say again? So Trev had kind of said it there, but it was a
hell of an outfit.
That's June. A hell of an outfit in June. And that was in response to Larry Michaels' comment, which his comments were past the point of being okay.
Right. Absolutely.
And out of context, that's a hell of an outfit in June from JP Finley, but not right. There's nothing really there.
Yeah, it could be, but it couldn't be.
And
we don't
Gus
know.
Bus on this part here. Did JP do it in front of the girl? I don't think that matters.
I don't think it matters.
No.
Well, it doesn't.
And
matter,
I don't think it did either.
But
it's just
I compared to this though, and tell me what you guys, if you think this is a fair comparison. And I'm going to bring it back to politics a little bit. Too bad if you don't like what I'm saying. But back in the campaign of 2016, and they brought out those audio tapes from an interview. Entertainment Tonight did with Trump. And Trump said some really, really, really bad things. 100 times worse than what Larry Michaels just said. Right? He basically admitted to, okay, I'm not gonna go there. But he said some really bad things. Okay. Trump went on to be elected president of the United States and to represent our country. Billy Bush, who did the interview, who didn't say anything other than laugh at what Trump said, he got fired from his job because they didn't want him representing their company. But yet we elected this guy as president, even though he's the one that actually said the stuff. It's the same sort of thing. It's the same. It's almost the exact sort of situation. So we just kind of all have our priorities mixed up a little bit. That's
with
all
that. With that being said,
mm-hmm.
Do you think the commanders are like, well, we don't want that kind of person representing our organization,
No.
especially if it's an insider?
No, because
we'll suspend
he's only
him or fire
credentialed.
him.
He doesn't represent him. He's a credentialed reporter.
It's going to be 106.
It's going to be 106.
I think within. He hasn't responded. By the way, he has not responded to that.
He's going to come out tomorrow with an apology. You know it's going to happen. That's what happens.
It's definitely going to happen. There's going to be
an come out with the heart to his wife, his kid,
the
organization, all this stuff.
What was happening? He'll probably say that he was uncomfortable and didn't know what to do, and that now he knows how to be better. It'll be interesting.
It will be.
From my understanding, Germ, as far because who asked what
we don't know.
I think Larry Michael calls her out as wearing a black dress.
Yeah, all black.
Which is some people are trying to say that JP was trying to say, like, wearing a black thick dress or something.
Right. We don't know. It could be,
and that's what I'm saying. There's some context missing
but
here.
That's why you don't even say it to put yourself in this position that you're in now, where we have to debate if it's out of context or not. I mean, you're in the position you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like Nathan said it, different spanks for different ranks. Yeah, the president said that, but no one's going to not elect him because he said that. It's America. That's just what it is.
Right, but you're going to fire the guy who laughed at it.
Exactly, because that was the company's decision. I don't agree with
Right,
it like you said.
right.
That was dumb, but like in this instance, JP,
He's a much
you
smaller
know what you're
fish to be
doing.
able to
Yeah,
knock out the.
but you
the
still
water
you
there.
represent a company. You kind of know what you said, and I think that's why he also said a hell of an outfit for June, because that was probably his safe response because he was aware of his surroundings. Larry Michael wasn't. JP was.
Larry
I
Michaels
personally
didn't
think,
care.
yeah. Either way, that's why I think. And it
The
could
heck
be
happened
like
to
it was a
Trev?
bad outfit, or it could be like, hey, I'm just going to be safe and said, hell of an outfit for June.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. There's a lot.
This
There's
is
a lot
tough.
that can be read into
It's
it.
tough.
On the same kind of line of topic here, before we hit the cool down, do you guys think
It's
that
almost
the media
9 o'clock.
is anywhere in this complicit? Because all these allegations, everything that was happening, they were around it. They didn't necessarily report on it. Or do you feel like maybe they didn't know as much as some people think that they meant?
Complete speculation.
Who knows? Yep.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I don't even want
I
to
just
get
know
into
the
that.
media is getting a lot of scrutiny with this whole with B Mitch sounding off on Ron Rivera and everything, and now the JP thing. It ain't looking good for Washington Commanders media right now. Just saying. So you might want to
It
stay
is-
in your lane and report about OTAs and trades and stuff because
It will be a very interesting few days. We'll see how that goes. And of course, we'll keep you up to date. Here on the cool down, we'll be talking about the
Ooh, I got
Wizards
more- another
draft. And don't forget, you're going to want to catch us live tomorrow on the channel when we stream the draft and have several people that's come up here on the cool down. All right, thanks to everyone who's still sticking around with us. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. And now it's time to shift away from all that congressional talk and the Commanders talk. Let's talk about our other team here that's going to have a pretty big night tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to change over to our Wizards
Oh yeah.
look here.
There you go.
As we talk about the Washington Wizards currently holding the 10th spot in the NBA draft. Trev, you have some business happening tomorrow, so you won't be live with us. So I want to get your take on the Washington Wizards. Are they staying at 10? Are they going to jump up to number 4, which is what they're reported to like? Or are they going to give that up for a known player? What's going to happen there with that 10th pick with the Washington Wizards?
I think they will pull the trigger and trade up to number 4. I personally think they shouldn't because you're mortgaging the house for number 4 for somebody outside of Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, or the kid from Duke, Pablo Banchero. Those are guaranteed. You're getting at number 4. I know Jaden Ivey is a name that's out there. Jordan Davis is too. But I personally don't think we know what we have in them as what we know what we have in the top 3 that I already mentioned. So I do think they will mortgage
Probably
the house.
I wouldn't want Chet Holmgren, but Holmgren.
No, I wouldn't either. I think he's going to be a bust, but we'll see.
But so I think they will mortgage the house and go up to number 4 and get Jaden Ivey. But I think they should stay at 10. Get a nice 10's not a bad draft pick. You get a nice compliment piece to Bradley Beal.
And the NBA,
then,
I think it's a very wishy-washy pick.
But
Metaphor 4 is they're actively shopping that.
Who has the
They
4th
want
pick, by the way?
some
Sacramento.
players, the Kings.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
see,
here's
that's
the-
tough.
They're looking for some players.
Here's the problem,
return for
too.
that
That's
pick.
tough then.
Is that everybody thinks they know. Everybody knows that Jaden Ivey is the 4th guy who's going to get picked 4th. And he's made it clear, I don't want to go to Sacramento. He said it. I have no interest in playing in Sacramento. So that's kind of why that pick is a little bit available, if you will.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's tough.
I mean, I'm a Jaden Ivey guy. I'm a Big Ten basketball watcher, so I've watched him for the last couple of years. Watched him just greatly improve from freshman to sophomore year. He is a stud. Go get Jaden Ivey. He's going to be a day 1 starter impact player on your team. That's what I think. I think they should mortgage whatever they have to mortgage to go get him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure that they will, but They're going to make a move. I promise you this. They will make some sort of move tomorrow.
You said you think they should mortgage the house, or you don't
absolutely.
think they should mortgage?
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
get Jaden Ivey?
Stop with all this. Let's
to get Jaden
build up
Ivey?
all these draft picks. Yeah. Yes.
We don't even
absolutely.
know who's free agents this year.
What about so Trev? You're not for trading up to the number 4. What about this from Gus Bus? I heard some rumble about trading for DeJounte Murray.
I like that.
They can pull that off.
The Spurs aren't going to do that.
Why
the Spurs
not?
are not going to do that.
Why not? What if we give them the number 10?
Why are they not going to get rid of their best player
for a 10 pick?
No, not.
They got rid of Kawhi. Got rid of Kawhi.
I don't. Did they trade him or? Oh, they did. They did a sign and trade, but those are in situations.
They got rid of Derek White. Derek White went to the finals.
Derek White's.
DeMar DeRozan went to the playoffs. He didn't go there when he was in San Antonio.
That's the
get rid of him. You ain't winning. You're not win. If you keep DeJounte Murray or whatever you say his name, what are you gaining if you keep him? The same thing as you got this year.
A great player, an all-star player.
Cool. So is Kuminga. He's a great player, and he didn't do nothing. He's got a ring. So I don't want to hear that.
Great player. Stop.
He's
that,
nice.
Fred.
But no, go get DeJounte Murray. He's proven. He's a proven veteran already. You don't know what you have in Jaden Ivey. You risk the house. You get Jaden Ivey, and he sucks the first 10 games. Then what?
Kind of like what Gus Bus was asking about. Does Sacramento want to do that deal? Does San Antonio really want to get rid of Murray?
Probably not.
No, they don't want to go get rid of him.
Now, is he gone?
What about SGA out of OKC? Would you be good with him?
Yes,
I'm an SGA guy.
These players are established. They've had veteran experience. We don't know what Jaden Ivey has. He plays against college. He plays against the Big Ten. No offense, but it's the Big Ten.
Okay, look, that's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't hate that either if they did that. But you had
Big Ten.
You give up less for going to get a number 4 pick than you would for SGA or DeJounte Murray.
Big Ten guards don't pan out.
Sam
Look
Presti
at all the
likes
ones.
likes to collect.
They don't, and you know that. Big Ten point guards and guards don't pan out in the.
Now you're gonna make me dispute that with 100 Big Ten guards.
We'll let you do the research for it.
Nowadays,
going a little bit here. I want to hit again that we're going to be streaming the draft live starting tomorrow at 7:30. But we won't be alone. We've got several people coming with us here at 7:35. We have Ed Too Flat from Twitter. He's also the Locked On Wizards. Only 10 minutes with him. That's Ed Oliver that we'll have on. Happy birthday to him for earlier in this week. 7:55, we have Money Cakes. We have Cakes from the Junkies coming with us. We have AWAD coming on at 8:20. We have 8:45 Snide Remarks.
Yeah, Rick Snyder.
9:10 our
that's
our
dope.
friends of the channel Command This will be on, and 9:35 the gents over at First String Pod will be jumping on with us. We hope that you join us and watch the draft with us as we see where the Washington Wizards are going to pick with that 10th pick, 4th pick.
Yeah, here we go.
Let us know.
Little fun. Dollar. Washington stays at 10. That's my dollar. Anybody taking it? Washington stays at 10. You're not going to take it on me? You think you're not going to take my dollar?
They're not going.
So you're taking my dollar? You're going to take my bet?
Absolutely.
Right. Let's do it, Nathan.
They're not. Let me just say this: they won't make the 10th pick for Washington. Okay, they might make the pick for Washington and then trade it.
This happens in the NBA where they pick the player but trade the player.
We're staying at 10 and we're picking somebody, and then
that player's going to go to Washington.
That's my dollar.
No,
Come on,
with
Nathan.
Trev. Actually, I'm with Trev.
Let's go.
I think I just don't see it working out where they're going to be able to get there. We will see.
Jaden Ivey.
We will see. I like Ivy.
Now he a top 5 pick.
I like Ivy. So I am a fan, and I hope you're a fan of this channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We stream live every Wednesday at 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, you can catch us on your favorite audio platforms as well. So make sure that you check us out there. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It'll help other people find us, and we would appreciate you even more. Shout out to the Command This Podcast for that $4.99 donation to the channel.
Nice.
We always appreciate those donations on the super chat. We appreciate you, and until next time,
Trey Bradley Beal.
Be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are ref the district.